Hello, I'm Heidi Rakels from Belgium, and I'm the CEO of Saikoa, and we are a company that's creating security software. We have two main products. Our first product is Proguard. Proguard is an open source product and it's part of the Google Android SDK. And our second product is Dexguard. And Dexguard is an extension of Proguard and with additional features.
My name is Eric Lafortune. I'm the technical director at Saikoa. And about a year ago, in May last year, we started working with NSHC as a Value Added Reseller for our products. And this is a collaboration that's been working very well for us because NSHC has a lot of expertise in this area with their own products and also with Dexguard. I started working on Proguard about 12 years ago, and it actually started out as a hobby project where I've always loved to take things apart and put them back together. And it's not any different with the Java bytecode. It's fun to take Java bytecode apart and put it back together, make something better out of it, and do interesting stuff with it. And that's what I did 12 years ago, just as a small project, and I made it an open source project. And initially it was just for fun, for me, for myself. And gradually other developers were starting to use it, companies were starting to use it. And in the early days it was popular for Java applets, where people where the devices had little resources, not that much memory, not that much bandwidth, and people started using it more and more for applets. And then later on, midlets came along. Midlets, the early Java applications that you could run on your cell phone. And again, it was the same story. Those early cell phones, they didn't have much resources. So it was important to make applications that were small, and they also had to be a bit protected against reverse engineering. So people were picking it up for that. And then later on, Android came along. And it was the same story again. The Android devices, they didn't have that many resources, and it was important to protect some applications against reverse engineering. And people were also expecting more from these Android applications. So even though they had more resources than initially, the users were also expecting more. So gradually Proguard was growing, focusing on making applications smaller and making applications more efficient, more performant, and also making applications better hardened against reverse engineering. And over time, companies have picked it up to integrate it in their SDKs, like Oracle in the SDK for the Java Micro Edition, but also later on in the Android SDK that Google creates. And that's when Proguard really started taking off, because the number of users, the number of developers who used Proguard increased a lot in that period. And even though it was a small hobby project, I take my hobbies quite seriously, and this was taking more and more of my time. So it was taking my evening time and my night time and all my weekends. So about 2 years ago, or 3 years ago now, 2.5 years ago, I started working on Dexguard as a professional project, as an independent small startup. And so at that time I could start working on Proguard and Dexguard in the daytime, but also in the evening and at night and on weekends, because it's still absorbing all of my time, and it's a lot of passion that goes into it still. So that's a bit of the history of Proguard and Dexguard. That's very interesting, and that's something that we of course have to keep an eye on. From the developer's perspective, this is a very important development where it makes life easier, and often developers are facing deadlines and they have to develop their code, but at the very end also make sure that the code is hardened against reverse engineering. So for them it's very important to have a solution that works quick and with a minimum of hassle. The approach that we are currently taking with Dexguard is something where you have to invest some more effort. You have to configure Dexguard to get good results out of Dexguard, so a lot works out of the box, but if you want actually the best results, you have to invest some effort. And we think that's important still to get results that are unique for every application, so that the application has protection that is really tuned to the application itself. So in that sense, a combination of both techniques is ideal, where you have a quick solution that works without problems, and then a solution where you can invest some more time and get the best of both worlds. Well, it's very useful for us to get feedback from NSHC, first and foremost, and from customers in Asia, because it helps us to learn about differences in the way people go about development. For instance, we've learned that there are government rules that are different in Korea and in other countries, and those are very interesting things to know for us. On the other hand, also the markets might be different. For instance, we noticed that we are working mostly with small developers who are creating tools and small games. But in Korea, the banking sector is very important, and they have very stringent requirements to get good results. And that's important feedback for us to know. So to me, it seems that our collaboration between our company Saikoa, the company NSHC, and you as a customer is very important, in the sense that we try to create an excellent product. NSHC has a lot of expertise, and they can provide the knowledge to get the best out of that product. And the customer can, of course, provide the application and provides the information on how that application works and which parts are important and which parts need to be protected. Now, once Saikoa and NSHC have made sure that you have a setup to protect your application, from then on it's easy, because everything is ready for you to further develop. So there's a bit of startup investment in setting up the product and the configuration, but once you have that, you can continue developing, and everything will be a lot easier, and the results will still be very useful.